Welcome to my channel Code Beyond Talk. In this video, we are going to solve two very important questions from MySQL database, and these two questions are mostly asked in many database interview where I have seen many people were not able to give the answer properly. So watch the video till end because I'll be discussing this problem and I'll be writing the code as well. Like I'll be writing the query and I will execute the query also so that we see the practical implementation of the query as well. And these two questions were asked in Wissen Technology Java backend technical round. So I highly recommend people preparing for the Java backend to practice this query because this is very often asked in the interview. So here I will just explain the problem first and then I will discuss like how we are going to write the query, like what clause we'll be using in order to write the query from the MySQL. So the problem here is you are given a table which has the data like employee ID, employee name, salary and department ID. So let's see, I have already inserted data in the employee table. So I have an employee table. If you see here, I have an employee table and then it has employee ID, employee name, salary and name. And I have already inserted the data. Here you see there are 5 records which are from different department. You can see that we have department ID 101, 102, 103. So we have 3 department here what data I have inserted, and we have salary also and the name. So the first question is write query to print department ID and highest salary from each department. So here we have to get the department ID and highest salary from that department. So let's see, in the data set we have multiple record from the same department, right? So we need to print only the record which has the highest salary in that particular department. So if I see in the dataset, we have like 101 has two record. So one has like 50,000 salary and one has like 75,000 salary. So we should be printing 101 department ID and the salary is 75 because out of these two records the highest one is the 75,000 whose salary is highest. So we'll be printing like 101 and the salary should be 75,000. So similarly for the other department as well, like for 102 we have like two records here, so we should be printing like which has the highest salary. So the highest salary is for this employee ID 5 which is 70,000, so we should be printing that 17,000. So in order to solve this query we should be knowing the MySQL clauses. Like there are multiple clauses, right, that we use in order to write the query, but the clause which we'll be using here is group by. So we'll group by here by department ID because we want to find the highest salary from that department. So we'll be using group by clause and then we'll be printing this department ID and highest salary, and we'll be also using the max aggregate function in order to get the highest salary from that. So let me write the solution for first question where we need to print the department ID and highest salary from each department. So query will be select department ID you need to write the same column name which is there in the column, or else you will get error while executing the query. So make sure that you are writing the same column name, and then we'll be using max function on the salary from, or you can define here as a max salary. You can give alias from employee is the name of the table, then you need to use group by, as I said earlier also, right? We will be using group by here, so that we get the, we will be doing the grouping based on the department ID. Department ID. So let me check that I have written correctly, like there is no error while in writing the column name. Department ID looks fine, and then employee table also looks fine. Department ID, here it should be ID. Now let me execute this query. It's saying that there is an issue with department ID. So what is the wrong department? Just check the column name. Okay, we are missing T here, so it was just typo. So here you see we got the result. So here we are getting department ID and max salary, because we have given the alias as a max salary for salary. So that's the reason where here we are getting max salary as a column name. And you see we are getting for department ID 101 we are getting 75,000, because that has the highest salary. Similar for 102 we have 70,000, and 103 for 55,000. So this is how we'll write the query for the first question. If you have any doubt regarding the first question, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to give reply or solve your doubt there. And the next question is again, write query to print department ID, name and highest salary from each department. So both the question are related to each other, but the way we write the query is different. So first one was easy to write, because you have to get only department ID and max salary, so you just use group by. So but second question query will be little tricky to write, so it is not as straight as first one. So here you have to be little more conscious in order to write the query, because you need to think little bit more so that you write the query correctly. So let me come back to the table. So here we have employee ID, department ID, salary and name. Now in the second question we have to print the name as well. So in order to get the result, we need to print the department ID and salary, which was in the previous question, but in the next question we have to add the name as well. So to add that name, the way we'll be writing the query is that we'll be using join in order to write the query, or we will be using the sub query also. So we'll have like two query, one query will act as a sub query along with join, and then some condition we need to write, like where we define that we want to get the record which has the highest salary. So let me write the query. So we'll be using select, as I said, in order to get the required result. So we'll be joining the same table, like employee table. Normally we use two tables in order to use the join, but here you will be using on the employee itself. We can call it as a self join. So we'll have two column. Let's say I'll explain you why I am writing e1 dot name. Let me write the complete query and then I will explain. e1 dot, I'll just use this value so that way I don't do much typo, and then e1 dot salary from employee, and will give reference for employee is e1, and then I'll be using join, and then I'll be using a subquery select, like as I said, right? This, the second question and first question are interrelated, so we'll be using the same query here as well, and we will reference this to e2 because this will give me the department ID and the max salary that we have already seen in the first query. So the same query we are using in order to write the second query, because as I said, right, this is like both the query are interrelated to each other and there is not much difference in the output. In the second query just we are adding the name, so somehow we'll be using the first query to get the required query for the second question. So I'll just using the same query as a sub query, and we'll be using on clause where, so now here we need to write that condition, like on which field in the table we want to get the like max salary and other details like name and department ID. So we'll write e1 dot department ID equal to e2 dot department ID. So this will give detail of all the ID which are matching to each other, but we only want the result which has the highest salary. So to get that only the highest salary record, we need to use where clause as well, where we'll give condition like e1 dot salary equal to e2 dot max salary. So now it should give you the record which has max salary, because this max salary we are getting from this subquery. So that's the reason we are using subquery here to get the max salary reference. So now let me run this query to get the result. So now you see we are getting the name as well, department ID and salary. So this query is giving me the correct result. So now let me explain like what I have done in detail. So first we write a select statement where I have given e1 as a reference for the employee, and this e1 we are using to reference the column name. So e1 dot name, e1 dot department ID, and e1 dot salary. Now we are doing join, but we are also using this subquery where we are getting the department ID and max salary, and then we are using on clause where we are doing check on the department ID. So e1 dot department ID is coming from this employee and e2 dot department ID is coming from this subquery, because this subquery will return the department ID and the max salary. So this department ID here will come from the subquery, and where we are using this max salary which is coming from the subquery with the employee salary. So if it matches, then it will return that matching record as a result set. So that's the reason we are getting here 3 records with the name. So this is how we'll write the query for both the questions, and these two questions are very important, and these are little complex, so many people fail to write the query correctly. So that's the reason I thought let me make a video on that. It might help many people in order to prepare the database questions, and I hope that it helps you when you prepare for the MySQL questions interview, so or any Java backend interview. Wherever you go for the interview, in any interview there will be questions from MySQL database, and these are the very important questions. Most of the time these questions are asked, so very important to know these concepts. If you have still any doubt regarding this question, let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply in comment also in order to resolve your queries, and I hope that this video helps you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.